Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Kenyon Hackworth back again with another video. Today I'm going to talk about how I lost $88,000 on these two stocks so far this year in 2025. Before I get into it, I'm going to ask you to make sure you please subscribe to the channel, trying to grow, and make sure you share the video with your friends and family so that they can get this information as well. And I will talk about later on too, if you stick to the end, you'll see why I put the lost in quotation marks. So now 2025 has been a quote unquote, some people call rough year, painful year, however you choose to describe it in the stock market. So people have seen the values of their portfolios drop, and you're not alone. It has affected pretty much anybody who's invested almost the same way. Now, if you look at these two stocks I'm going to talk about, they happen to be my favorite two, or the best two businesses that I have, the fastest growing ones. So if you look at Broadcom and NVIDIA, so we'll look at the shares that I own from December 31st, 2024. You can see the number of shares was 772 shares, Broadcom 0.348. And the stock price on December 31st, 2024 was $231.84. So the value of Broadcom on that particular day of those shares was $179,061.16. Right beneath that, you see NVIDIA. NVIDIA had, there was 1,260.36 shares. The stock price on December 31st, 2024 was $134.29 for a total value of $169,253.74. So totally, those two stocks for those particular shares were worth $348,314.90. So if you look at it today is actually Easter Sunday. Happy Resurrection Day. So the same shares, the stock price as of today on Broadcom is $170.99. On NVIDIA is $101.49. So you can see the market value of Broadcom, $132,063.79, and NVIDIA $127,913.94. So for a total of $259,977.73. So you can see the difference right here in the value of Broadcom and NVIDIA from December to April 20th. The difference in the stock price is $88,337.17. So the price of the stock dropped by those two stocks dropped by $88,000. Now, if you look at it just from that perspective, it will look like, man, I lost $88,000 on those two stocks. I should have sold them, or I should have moved money around. I should have got out. But nobody can predict what the stock market is going to do in the short term. But you have to think as a long-term investor. Now, if I started the video with a different slide, this particular slide right here, showing that those shares were shares that were purchased in 2020, so it doesn't include anything purchased after 20. So anything that was purchased from 2021 through 2025, which I have continued to add shares of Broadcom and NVIDIA. You see in 2020, Broadcom we'll start at the top and go across. At the end of 2020, I had 77.2348 shares of Broadcom. The average price was $277.38. So the total amount that was invested in Broadcom, including reinvested dividends, was $21,423.39. In July of 24, Broadcom did a 10-for-1 stock split. So you divide the stock's price by 10, so that makes the average stock price now being $27.74. You multiply the number of shares by 10 to even out for the stock split. So now you get to $772 or 772.348 shares. So now you look at the price on Easter Sunday, and it paints a different picture. You still have the same price or same amount, $132,000, but you can see the unrealized gains of $110,640.40 for a total difference of 516.45%. NVIDIA, the shares I purchased in 2020, 31.509, average stock price $482.40 for a total dollar amount invested of $15,199.94. NVIDIA, because of the rate that it has grown those last couple of years, did two stock splits. I did a 4-for-1 stock split in 2021 and a 10-for-1 stock split in 2024. So I ended up with the average cost of $12.06 for a total of 1,260.36 shares. And the current stock price, $101.49. So a market value of $127,913 with unrealized gains, unrealized because I haven't sold any of the shares. I still own all the shares, and $112,714 for total growth percentage-wise of 741%. Now, instead of looking at it like, oh, I lost $88,000 this year, one could look at it like over the last 4 years, they've grown in value by $223,000 or 609%. So the question is, did I lose $88,000 or did I gain $223,000? It's all about perspective. And because these are great businesses that I have no plan on selling, I can say confidently as of today that I plan on still owning these companies 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and own throughout the time frame. So if you look at, this is Broadcom, this chart right here, that green line is kind of crooked, but that green line in 2020, that's when I bought Broadcom. You can see the actual continued growth of revenue from that particular time frame. It is a wonderful company that continues to grow. Just because the stock price falls doesn't mean I'm going to run out and sell my wonderful business because everybody else does. This chart on NVIDIA. This is from 2021 up until now. You can see the same thing with the growth of the revenue from 16 billion to 130 billion. So you look at companies that are growing at a very, very, very good rate, and they're still in really good positions. So regardless of what happens on the short term, I will continue to own these particular businesses. So if you look at how they have performed, just collectively, Broadcom and NVIDIA, from 2020 to 2025, they have a compound annual growth rate of 60%. Now, if just because I didn't buy these businesses in 2015 or 2016 or 2010, I didn't miss them. People always ask sometimes, is it too late to get in XYZ business? Is it too late to get into NVIDIA? Is it too late? These are businesses that you're buying. These are publicly traded companies you're buying a piece of. You can own these businesses for decades. So no, it's not too late. So if you go back to 2015, let's say I had found these two businesses just 5 years earlier, and I invested $30,000. You can see that from 2015 to 2025, they still have an extremely high compound annual growth rate of 60% per year. And if you can see at the bottom, portfolio growth, $30,000 invested, that's $15,000 in each. January 1st, 2015 will be worth $3.7 million as of March 31st, 2025. Now let's say somehow I was lucky enough, I had found them, which I didn't. I had found them in 2010. So from 2010 to 2025, they still will have a compound annual growth rate of 41% per year. So $30,000 invested in January of 2010 will be worth $5.7 million as of 2025. Now, this chart right here shows the breakdown of the annual returns. And as you can see, for instance, if you look all the way to the far right, you can see that starting at the bottom, 2010, 11, and 12, NVIDIA had 3 straight negative years of returns before it had a positive year. It also was down 30% in 2018, 50% in 2022, and roughly 19% so far this year. And you can look at the return the third column from the left, and it shows what the return collectively is for each particular year. Now you can see the balance as the balance goes. In the negative years, there's a big drop off in balance, like from 2021 to 2022 when it was down roughly 35%. You see the portfolio value would have dropped from 1.7 to 1.1. So that's about $600,000. So that makes my 88,000 look very small in comparison. But what you're doing is you're looking for the long-term aspect of compounding. The longer you can have good businesses that compound, the better it is for you over the long term. And you can see 2024, even though it's down a smaller percentage so far in 2025, you see the 7.3 down to 5.7. So the portfolio would have dropped in value by roughly $1.6 million. $1.6 million. But if you're owning the businesses, if they're good businesses, just because there are temporary decreases in stock prices, if they're good quality businesses, you can continue to own them, because what you're looking for are compounding machines. That's what I'm looking for. Businesses that can compound on an average basis. You know, some years you're going to have down years. You're going to have down months. Who knows? By the end of this year, they could be up again. Who knows? So what I'm looking for is to tell people is to focus on the quality of the investments that you own. If you own high quality investments, there's no need to be jumping out. There's no need for you to panic and move around and feel like you need to go out and sell all your assets and go to cash and try and wait, because you're waiting for what? Nobody can predict when the market's going to turn. So you could be sitting in cash and then it goes up 5% and you're waiting. It goes up 10% and you're waiting for it to come back down. Then it goes up 15%. Who knows? It can go down another 20% for all I know. But I know that these are great businesses. Right now, they are selling at really good price multiples. So I will continue to add to them. So just imagine, even though I didn't buy them 10 years ago, 10 years prior, imagine owning them for the next 10 years. There's no way for me to know exactly what they can grow into unless I continue to own them. And there's nothing in any one of these businesses that says, oh my God, I need to run out and sell them before they go out of business. No, these are really good businesses with good management and good balance sheets. So I will continue to own them, and along with other businesses that I own. If you look for good quality, own the businesses, and don't focus so much on the losses, because it's just paper losses. It's paper losses until you sell. Now, if I would sell, that means that $88,000 in gain that I had, that means that would be a permanent loss. But it's unrealized, just like the gains. It's unrealized until I sell. But I'm not selling my businesses. And I always look to own good businesses for long periods of time. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to do any work in any one of these businesses. And that's the way it is if you can find good quality assets that you can invest in, that you can own. That's my method. Don't stress out about paper losses, and just try and maintain. Focus on good businesses. Even if you just start. I know some people just started buying these and you bought them and the stock price went down and like, oh my God, I should have waited. You can't predict it. Just continue. If you continue to add and you buy shares over time. I bought Broadcom and Nvidia. I've continued to buy for the last 5 years. I'll continue to buy Amazon and Apple for the last 9 years. And I'm not going to stop because they're good businesses. So, hey, listen, stay focused. Don't stress out. This too shall end. I don't know when, but this too shall end. And then if you own good quality assets, or if you continue to buy good quality assets, you can accumulate more shares. I don't know when it's going to end. I'm not waiting to see when the tariff's going to come off and then I can start investing. You know, if they're good prices, I'm going to keep on buying. All right, so I wish all of you health, wealth, and continue to grow and prosper. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Make sure you subscribe. Click the button. It's right there. Subscribe, and like and share. Thank you. Have a great day. Until next time. Peace.